All right, so this is part 2. We're just going to talk about the videos here. I'm going to show you a couple of videos. Part 1 looks good, so anyway, I'm going to get a little more comfortable with it. I don't want to do 45 minutes or longer of recording and then have it not work out right. But so far so good. I've done 2 of these for my undergrad class. Okay, so here's another video. It's not as clear. Audio should be okay though. All right. I might jump on this one because he does a good job with her.
Okay, Marcia, so how can I help you today?
Well, I'm working full-time. I'm a part-time student.
Right.
I've just gotten engaged and I live at home. There's just so much stress in my life. I have everything happening all at once. Just to top it all off, I failed an exam, a really big exam, and I just feel like I can't do anything anymore. I can't do anything right. I've just got so much stress and I feel like such a disappointment, such a failure, and I've embarrassed my family by failing. I just don't know what to do anymore, and I guess I've come here today to tell you, I want to leave uni, and I guess that's why I've come here to you today.
Okay, so it sounds like a whole lot of stuff's on top of you at the moment?
Yeah, just so much, just
stressing
all piling on, yeah.
So you're working full-time, plus
part-time study.
Part-time study, and then you've got a wedding preparation.
Yeah, just got engaged, and wedding's just a month away now, so I've just got so much happening. Work is really demanding, and just fail this exam. It's just, don't know what to do. All too much. Yeah.
So imagine you've been sweating on this for a while, and it's all been swirling around in your head.
It's just been building up and building up, and so much pressure with everything. And I'm living at home, so my parents, a lot of pressure. Need to do everything right, and and by failing this, I feel like I've just embarrassed them and disappointed them, and I just don't feel like I'm good enough, to go on studying.
Okay. And have they said much to you about failing your exam?
They haven't said much. I was really scared to tell them, actually, because I knew they'd just be so disappointed and just embarrassed by the fact that I did fail.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never failed anything before, and so, it's really hard.
Yeah. So it's new and you don't like it at all?
Not at all, no. And I think leaving uni will just be the way out, just so I don't have to go through it again.
Right, okay. Well, I'm glad you've come to counselling, because it's good for us to get an outsider's opinion when we've got so much on our plate and we're confused as to what to do and our emotions can get in the way. And you've just said earlier that a whole lot of stuff's on your plate at the moment.
A lot of things,
So I'm glad you've come here. Here at the clinic we use the ABC model, which is a cognitive behavioural therapy model.
Okay.
So Marcia, some counsellors have put together a list of beliefs that we often use, and we don't realise that we're using those beliefs, and they tend to be faulty ones.
Okay.
Here's the list here. Have a look through that to see if there are any beliefs that you might be operating on at the moment.
I will say that I have used the Ellis model more than this model. I have used the Beck model extensively for the motivational interviewing stuff I do with veterans, but in terms of their beliefs, dysfunctional beliefs about engaging in therapy. But this is what I did more with the Ellis thing, is I would give a handout, the same handout I gave you, like literally the same handout I gave you is what I would give out to my clients. Say, I want you to look through this, and we had some discussions before. What do you think might apply to you? And so that's what he's doing here. And that's one way to do it, is a little more mix of psychoeducation, less spending a lot of time on the Socratic questioning stuff. That's a little more Ellis-like. Of course, you should know also, based on what we've already gone over, Ellis's version of dysfunctional thoughts in terms of the musts.
I think number 2.
Okay. Read that one out for me.
That it's necessary to have a high degree of order and certainty in order to be happy and perform well.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier, didn't you? Yeah.
Number 4, that it's necessary to be competent and successful in all those things which are attempted.
Yeah, that's an expectation from your family.
Yeah. Possibly number 8.
Okay.
That life should be entirely pleasant and enjoyable, and that any frustration, discomfort or pain would be unbearable.
Yeah. Which one of those stands out the most for you at the moment?
Probably number 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you put that in your own words?
That I need to be successful all the time in everything that I do. Yeah.
And is that different from what's happening in your life at the moment?
Well, failing that exam, I mean, I wasn't successful with that, so yeah, I mean, it just throws out, I guess even number 2, because throws out all the order in my life. I need to have everything, you know, so I need to know what I'm doing, where I'm going, so...
Okay, so if number 4 is an expectation that your family have and that you have of yourself, how do you measure up next to number 4?
I don't feel like I'm good enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what I'd like to do is put some of those ideas on the board under the ABC, and I'll explain as we go along.
Okay.
Okay. So what do you think the trigger point might be, or the activating event for you at the moment?
All right, I'm going to jump. You can watch this where he does a little bit of ABC analysis with her, but I want to show the, I believe it's about 8 minutes, a little more of how he's going to try to intervene. Again, this has more of an Ellis feel than a Beck type feel. All right. So that's going to be about 8 minutes in. He does some stuff on the board with her, and let's go here.
Yeah.
Put together.
Yeah.
You're juggling it, and it's a lot on your plate at the moment, but it sounds like you've been able to cope up until this point of the one exam.
This one just threw me off balance. Failing,
So, would you describe yourself as successful most of the time?
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the evidence for that?
Passing all my exams all the time.
Yeah.
Just passing my subjects, not just exams.
Right. Yeah.
Getting that full-time job, it's a great job that I'm doing. Getting married.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, how do all of those successes compare to that belief that I've written on the board for you?
I guess in comparison, I am good enough.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And all the evidence is there. All of the subjects that you've passed in first year and now second year.
Yeah.
Your full-time job, that's a success.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, good. Okay.
All right, so you can see what he's trying to do here. He asked her to come up with it. He did a little more psychoeducation by having her pick out from the list of beliefs. But I've done that, actually. It's easier with the Ellis stuff. So that's one of the options for you. Let's do one more. I think that is this guy.
Okay, Brett, so we've got this situation where you were walking down the street the other day, and you saw a friend of yours across the street, and they didn't acknowledge you. They didn't wave or even look at you from across the street, right? And we've kind of identified this thought or this assumption here that they don't like me, right? So I thought we'd maybe do a little bit of kind of a dialogue back and forth. I could ask you some questions about wondering about this a little bit. This is called Socratic questioning. Is that okay if we move into this?
Sure.
Okay. So kind of in relation to this idea here, this situation, and we kind of named this already, that you think the other person's point of view is they don't like you. Is that right? Do you want to round that out anymore, or what else they might be thinking?
Well, I'm just, I waved, I thought they saw me and just kind of looked away, or,
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, yeah, they don't like me, they're kind of a jerk,
Okay. Right.
that kind of stuff.
Right. So kind of one about you, they don't like me or they don't like you. Another one about them, they're kind of a jerk. Or yeah. Right. Which one feels a little bit stronger, or should we think about right now? Or both?
They don't like me.
They don't like me. Kind of
Yeah.
focus on that one. Yeah. Okay. All right. So if you think about that idea in your mind, they don't like me. Are you making any assumptions, or are there any assumptions kind of running in the background of that?
I guess I'm assuming because they didn't acknowledge me that they don't like me.
Sure.
I guess that's an assumption.
Right. So kind of a link that acknowledging you would mean they like you, and not acknowledging you would mean they don't like you.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I guess I'm assuming they saw me.
Yeah.
Even though I think they did,
Right.
I guess I can't be 100%
Sure. Big assumption there that they actually saw you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And could there even be an assumption that, or maybe this has happened to you, you see someone across the street, but you don't really know who they are. Maybe they saw you, but even didn't recognize you fully. Could that have been the case?
I guess I'm assuming that wasn't the case.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Okay. So a couple of assumptions here. One assumption that you named, that acknowledgement means liking, and then vice versa. The assumption that they saw you in the first place. The assumption also that they recognized you. Right. Yeah. A couple of things there. Okay. So, and based on those assumptions, we've got this conclusion they don't like you. Do you have any kind of proof or evidence that would suggest they don't like you?
Well, I think the evidence would be the lack of acknowledgement. I think that would be evidence that they don't like me. I don't know. I guess other times? Do you mean like...
Sure.
At other points where they... I don't know. I think sometimes they can be a little cold towards me, I think, or...
Yeah.
So that makes me think that they don't like me.
Sure. Yeah.
They don't go out of their way to include me in things.
Okay. So there's a couple of pieces there, right?
Yeah.
And so, you're walking down the street, they didn't see you, these things happened, and you just think, oh yeah, they don't like me.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's the conclusion you settled on? Is that the best one?
Oh, I hope it's not.
Yeah. Oh, you hope
I hope it's
not.
not true,
Okay.
but it just seems the evidence points to that.
Right.
I would think.
It does.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, but given kind of what we've talked about, our assumptions and these pieces of evidence, are there other viewpoints or other conclusions that you could have settled on?
Got to change the way I look at it.
Yeah, you got to change the way you look at it. Right.
I guess they could have been distracted, busy,
Sure.
stressed out.
Yeah.
Those could be other conclusions, I suppose.
Stressed, distracted, busy. Right.
I don't know. What other explanations for that?
Right. Okay, so those are, we kind of talk about hypotheses or these thoughts we've got, right? One thought is they don't like me based on these things. And that's the one you hung on to.
Yeah.
Why do you suppose you rejected these other ones? They're busy, they didn't see me, they're stressed out.
I didn't think of them.
You didn't think of them?
No.
Okay. But now, you're thinking of them now. What do you think of them now?
I guess it's possible.
It's possible.
I can't say it's not possible.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it takes looking at it in an entirely different way.
A different way,
Yeah.
right. Okay. And let's go back to that first one, they don't like me. When that goes through your mind, or you kind of hang on to that one, what's what's the result?
Depression.
Yeah.
Sadness.
You feel sad. Feel
Fear.
down.
Yeah.
Fear.
Anxiety.
Right.
All those things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we've got these other possibilities, right? They were stressed, they didn't see me, they didn't recognize that. What would be the implications of latching onto those or taking those on?
Well, if that was true, then I would not be depressed. I would
You would
just
be depressed.
I would just say whatever,
Huh.
they were busy.
They were busy.
Yeah.
Right. What's it like to kind of have a conversation like this?
It's different.
Mm.
It's forcing me to look at things differently.
Yes, for
know?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that we are looking at things differently, how does that make you
One of the tricky parts of all this is referred to a little bit in the details about how core beliefs can lead to these automatic thoughts, can lead to if-then statements, can lead to compensatory behavior type stuff. And I'm not going to require you to know all that, but that's the ninja level stuff. But the thing I do want you to know and keep in mind is this guy, because of his core beliefs, ends up setting up his life to fulfill them. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So when he thinks people don't like him, he's probably defensive with people. He probably withdraws from people. And then people start to distance themselves from him. He may come across as cold or irritable. And it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because, yeah, people aren't really liking him or approaching him. And you have to be aware of that when you work with people, cognitive or behaviorally, that because of their fears or their ways of thinking, depending which model you want to be in, they've actually set things up to be self-fulfilling prophecies where some of it is actually happening. If that makes any sense. So, I think those are the main ones. You can watch the rest of her, but these are going to be posted. There's a lot more in the manual. There's only so much we can do, but I do expect you to know basically how to do cognitive therapy. Be able to come up with an example. I've assigned it for the discussion. Well, actually, I didn't even assign that for the discussion, but you know I'm going to be looking for that, something like that, possibly. Let's just say in the exam 2 to demonstrate. Keep in mind two separate things. One is identifying dysfunctional beliefs, including core beliefs, but not only core beliefs. And then how do you reduce the dysfunctional nature of the belief? How do you get the person not to believe it anymore or to believe it less? And you've just seen those examples. And you can, that box that I showed you is a critical one. And those are the types of questions. And you go after the fact that the reason the belief is causing you depression because it's not true. But it's a belief that's going to make you feel depressed. It would make anybody feel depressed who believed that core belief. The world's a terrible place, the future is empty, I'm completely worthless, or I'm completely a failure. I'm just a failure in life. I don't even know why I try. Those kinds of things. That, they're not crazy. If you believe that, you would be depressed too. Or have an anxiety disorder. The world's a dangerous place. No matter what I do, something bad's going to happen. I just know it. And the reality or the logic, it's really not logical, or it's not true based on facts. So I do hope you get a sense of that. You can email me questions. You can call me with questions. I am going to try to get at least once a week, an hour and a half, where we just kind of go over the material that you've seen on the recording. Hope to have the recording up by Monday or Tuesday. and that we're going to have a Zoom. You need to get comfortable with the Zoom app. I think you can do it from your phone, and it will be a video conference call type thing. And we're just going to talk a little bit about the recording. There will always be a recording for these last few weeks that I will post. I'll let you know when it's posted, and it'll be on our Blackboard page. So let me know if you have any concerns or questions. The Blackboard discussion group, you can post comments there. The video, you can make comments. Somebody already, not at FMU, commented on one of my videos for the undergrad class, just said, cool. Okay, thanks, that's a good start. You don't have to subscribe. If I get a lot of weird comments or horrible comments from other people, I'm assuming that you're not going to give horrible comments under the video, that you'll tell me directly. I may have to have everyone subscribe, and then you can only post under the video. But you don't have to do that. You don't even have to post in the discussion group. I might change that, but I'd like to keep it like that. But you can ask questions there. You can ask questions email. You can just call me anytime. And discuss some things. I'm hoping to have a little once a week where we just kind of discuss your questions, concerns, things that didn't make sense to you. This is pretty high level stuff. So next week we're doing do a little bit of CPT, and we're going to start part 1 of child therapy stuff. The TF-CBT thing we can wait till the week after. And I think that's it. So I really hope everyone's doing okay. And talk to you soon.